2,000 years before the events in the Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion and the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, the Elder Scrolls Online lets you take part in the story set within the compelling history and deep lore of the Elder Scrolls franchise. Designed to be played exactly the way you want to play, you can start wherever you like. With no level restrictions and no subscription required, this massive world is yours to explore, alone or with friends. Choose a favorite location, storyline, and jump in. From the capital cities of the Three Alliances to the magical Somerset Isles, the territory of Elsewhere, to Morrowind, the home of the Dark Elves. From frozen Skyrim in the north to the endless swamps of Blackmarsh, adventure is everywhere. Are you ready to forge your own legend? Options for creating and personalizing characters in Elder Scrolls Online are almost without limit. Choose from 9 different races, with a choice option available as an add-on. Select from 6 unique classes and customize them to fill exactly the role you want to play. Want to create a high elf sorcerer who wears heavy armor and wields dual daggers for close quarters combat? Why not? Or maybe a red guard dragon knight who prefers light armor and a bow. It's completely up to you. Earn skill points as you adventure across Tamriel to improve your character. Then master and customize your skills to match your style of play. As you explore the world, keep an eye out for sky shards. For every 3 of these rare crystals you collect, you earn a bonus skill point to spend on your character. The in-game skill advisor provides recommendations on how to best spend your points at each level, based on the different roles available to your character. And you can always reset your skills and reallocate your points whenever you visit a major city, so you can build and play the exact character you imagine. Go anywhere, do anything. That's the freedom presented in the Elder Scrolls Online. The game scales your character to the content, so explore any dark cave or mysterious forest that intrigues you. Adventure on your own, or with friends, even if those friends have wildly different levels or belong to different alliances. Dive into the rich and varied story content as a solo player, or join a group to take on the most dangerous dungeons and boss monsters in the world. During your character creation, select one of the 3 alliances competing for power in this era: the Daggerfall Covenant, the Ebonheart Pact, or the Old Mary Dominion. Each alliance features a unique and compelling storyline, but your choice never precludes you from playing with friends of different alliances. The Elder Scrolls Online is designed so you can travel anywhere at any time, no matter your level or alliance. Tamriel is a dangerous place. When you cannot sneak or talk your way out of conflict, you have to fight. The Elder Scrolls Online features an action-based combat system, reminiscent of the classic Elder Scrolls games. Use your skills, special abilities, and a combination of light and heavy attacks to defend yourself and your allies while you obliterate your foes. Unleash powerful synergy attacks when fighting as part of a group, and use block and dodge to reduce damage and avoid enemy attacks. If you prefer sneaking to direct combat, you can use stealth to evade detection, get around obstacles, or even set yourself up to unleash a potent surprise attack. Even the best solo player needs a little help now and then. Use the group activity finder and the friends list to team up with other players for a dungeon or other adventure. The Elder Scrolls Online community is extremely welcoming to new players and invites them to join in. Our players go out of their way to help new players and show them the ins and outs of adventuring in Tamriel. This is especially evident within player guilds, a great way to meet others and develop lasting relationships that enhance your game. Join a guild to trade resources, tackle group content, or simply chat about the latest revelation of lore. There are also in-game guilds your character can join to receive new skill options and special rewards. The Fighters Guild, the Mages Guild, the Dark Brotherhood, and the Thieves Guild are all accessible through story content. And for a real challenge, join the Undaunted and earn a unique skill line and extra rewards for tackling group dungeons. Dungeons present some of the most difficult and dangerous content available in the Elder Scrolls Online. From the small dungeon delves that challenge solo players, to group dungeons that require 4 players to take on, to the ultimate 12-person trials. These strange and wondrous places offer amazing visuals, complex battles, and compelling opponents unlike anything else in the game. Once your character reaches 10th level and you have a better understanding of the game, the Elder Scrolls Online gives you the option to participate in a variety of player versus player, or PvP, content. Duels offer a more intimate PvP experience, where you can test your skills or try out a new character build in one-on-one combat against another player. Battlegrounds present short, intense combat as 4-person teams take on 15-minute battles to earn achievements, experience, and special rewards. Alliance wars are large-scale battles where the 3 alliances fight for control of the imperial capital of Cyrodiil. With siege weapons and massive armies, fight to capture and defend keeps and win the day. While you adventure and explore, don't forget to collect the valuable resources you find scattered throughout the world. These items can be used to craft weapons, armor, food, potions, and accessories that you can use to improve or further customize your character. Develop your skills in one or more professions and improve them by completing specialized crafting writs. The professions include alchemy, blacksmithing, enchanting, clothing, woodworking, provisioning, and jewelry crafting. The Elder Scrolls Online provides players with the ability to own and personalize homes for their characters all across Tamriel. Homes can be acquired by completing quests, purchased through the Crown Store, or bought with in-game gold. Houses consist of single-room abodes to multi-chambered mansions. But nothing beats the opulence or grandeur of a manor house, complete with luxury accommodations for your character and up to 24 guests. Home ownership doesn't end there. Craft furnishings and accessories to personalize, improve, and decorate your home. There's never been a better moment to jump in and start playing the Elder Scrolls Online. With access to a multitude of adventures all across the width and the Tamriel, and the freedom to play wherever and however you like, it's time to begin your Elder Scrolls story.
Thanks, Maribel. That was really, really cute. I really enjoyed that. It's an exciting, exciting day as we have the 10th anniversary happening currently live. It's an awesome thing being broadcast from Steam. I'm so excited to seeing the celebration, because we've had 10 years coming in. It's so exciting to meet all the different people that help out with Elder Scrolls. Such a beautiful thing. So I'm going to go in here really quick, look into the daily login rewards here every weekday as you guys are kind of getting used to, adjusted to what's going on. Right now with you guys, if you are in your console, in your Steam console or your Xbox or your PlayStation, in your daily login rewards, you will be receiving, at least by logging into this channel, you will at least receive 1 Seals of Endeavor. So sweet. Also, we got some other breaking news here today of going on. We have a new patch coming in. That is a sweet, sweet thing. I'm going to put it in here. We had a new patch where the new patch just came in. It's really good. It's really good. We used to be on 9.36, but now we're on 9.3.7. So I'm going to switch that over here really quick. New patch 9.3.7. So just to let you guys know that there is a new patch. Now, why did that do that? That is odd. Yes, it's very odd, but I'm super excited. The event is going on live. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. So we have the new patch. Isn't it so beautiful? You get to pay for that new patch. All right, now get to going paying that new patch. This is a great thing. I am so excited that the celebration is going on live. So exciting. Hold your horses. We'll be right back.
The player deciding how they want to play the game. Like, we can't mandate or take away choices. I mean, that was one Tamriel really was the final thing of like, we're getting rid of the rules about, you can't do this because Elder Scrolls fans don't like can't, right? I can't climb, I can't jump, I can't carry a spear.
Stand on that much.
You're right. So like,
don't say spear.
Yeah, trust me, I know.
Do not say spear.
Believe me, I know. I have those battle scars. But the fact is that because that's what Elder Scrolls was really about, right? Like the mechanics of it can change a little bit from game to game, but those core tenets, it feels like they were there from the start, and they've been there all through, even if everything around it, whether it's character models or how interactive a place is. Because to Gina's point, like I remember going into places before and like going around like, hey, what can I click?
Yeah.
Nothing.
We didn't have that,
Nothing. And like,
we actually hired a bunch of interns. We called them click turns, and their job was to add little things that you could click on.
So when you go around the world and loot things, like you loot urns and stuff, none of that was in the game before 2012. And we actually hired 8 or 10 interns that just went to every room in the world and added clickies to that.
Make it interactive.
And then we designed that so it could feed into the crafting system. And that's where that comes from.
Yeah.
So, from Skyrim. Thank you, Skyrim.
All right. Well, we're going to say thank you to you both now for sharing these incredible stories that, I mean, we've never really been able to share with everybody before. And it's just been really special to have Pete here again and to have Matt here just reminiscing and sharing all of this.
And Gina, she was there too.
Oh, thank you.
From the start.
So, we are going to take a super quick break, and in just a moment, we're going to bring out some other folks from the ZOSDev team to talk more about pre-launch days. So sit tight, and we will be right back.
The storm is coming. The scent of war swirls in the air. As the Imperial throne lies empty, the fate of all Tamriel rests on the strength of a common prisoner's soul. Evil awakens. A long-banished foe stirs. Those who would destroy Tamriel seek out dangers to their dark plot. And so Death's long arm reaches out. It is the 582nd year of the Second Era. The drums of war are sounding. This is where our journey begins.
That was a work in progress video, right? That wasn't even our final video that we released. So little peek there.
Sorry, CJ.
Something from the vault. Right? So we are going to continue on our discussion of the origins of ESO. Excited to introduce some new members here on stage. I'd like to introduce everybody first. So first we have our creative director, Rich Lambert. We have our lead gameplay producer, Yvette Nash. We have our live services director, Joe Burba. Joe's my boss, so if you have nice things to say, go find Joe after this. And if you don't have nice things to say, then you can find the exit. And then lastly, we have our lead combat designer, Brian Wheeler.
Yeah.
Now, you all have held some very unique roles over the years. It hasn't always been the one that you're in right now. And you've really played an important part of bringing this video game to life. And we know that every team and discipline sort of has like an initial step when kicking off production of a game. So, Rich, let's start with you. As a designer for ESO originally, where did you start?
So I was actually originally a producer. So Matt and Pete talked a little bit about how I was a producer on Oblivion. And then when I came over, I wanted to really focus on the creative side of things. So I was actually the lead dungeon designer, worked a lot on that, worked with the tools and designing tools and things like that. So yeah, and then I went from there to lead content designer, and then I'm the creative director.
I actually remember very, very early on, we would play test your dungeons, and he put something in. It was the treasure chest.
Yes,
It was the treasure chest. So we would run
Exploding
around
traps.
and, like, you know, there was always one treasure chest that was a trap, and it would blow up when you opened it and wipe your entire group. He thought it was hysterical, but everybody else was like, maybe we don't want it.
So many Gina F-bombs during those runs. So many.
Yeah, maybe a few. Yvette, why don't you talk a little bit about yourself, actually, and just your history at ZOS and in the industry?
So I started with ZOS in 2010. I joined as a producer. I've gone up the producer track my 14 years there. So I was a producer, senior producer, and now lead gameplay producer. I actually entered the industry as a computer programmer and with Mythic Entertainment. And Matt Fire was actually one of the people that interviewed me there and got me hired. So.
I remember Matt was also one of my interviewers, and he walked in and he was like introducing himself. Hi, I'm Matt Fire, and I just go, I know. So what about you?
So I started about 12 years ago. I had actually worked at NC Soft on City of Heroes. For those of you who are older, remember that game, which was awesome.
It's a great game.
And
Absolutely
Tabula
great
Rasa.
game.
See, there's that one guy. But Paul Sage worked on Tabula Rasa, and after he had come to work at ZeniMax, every couple of months he would call me and go, "Are you ready to move to Baltimore yet?" And I was like, "No." And then he called me on a really bad day at work, and I was like, "Well," I was like, "Just come for dinner." And so I had dinner with Yvette and Paul, and I knew I was home. So.
Yeah, The Wire, by the way, is the worst recruiting tool ever.
Yes.
I mean, it's called Charm City. So it has its
That was
charm.
a different kind of charm.
Yeah.
Wheels?
Oh, let's see. I've been in the industry since '99. Actually, I started doing like late night tech support and help for people calling in about Morrowind, like way back then. But from there, I met contacts that got me into Mythic to work on Dark Age of Camelot and Warhammer Online. That's where I met Yvette. That's where I met Matt. A bunch of people back at the studio. And from there, they were like, "Hey, do you want to come work with us up here at ZeniMax?" I was like, "Okay, sure, let's give it a shot." And they were like, "Coming up, make PvP." I was like,
Yeah, make
do it.
PvP.
Make PvP. Just get right to it.
Easy peasy.
Yeah.
All right, so Rich, going back into kind of dipping your toes into ESO, like where did you start in that timeline?
I mean, it was really small, right? We were really small. We were focused on a couple of things. It was the lore. It was working with BGS on discussions. You know, I remember sitting in meetings where we were pitching things that had never been seen before in the lore. So, you know, the High Elves, for instance, you know, they had never actually been realized. And we're in meetings with Todd, and we're like, "Well, what does it look like?" He's like, "I don't know. You draw something, and I'll tell you if I like it or not, right? I'll know it when I see it." And so it was that kind of stuff because we were really forging ahead on things. And then once we started, you know, figuring out the lore and the stories and how that worked, then we started trying to figure out, like, how the heck do we build this? Like, we needed tools, we needed all kinds of things. And so I started working on a lot of that with a bunch of other people. And it's kind of crazy that most of those tools are kind of mostly intact now. And then from there we started digging in on like pen and paper prototypes where we'd sit down and we'd, oh God.
Oh, God.
The original office.
Oh my God. Where we would literally do like pen and paper prototypes of combat and things like that, and we'd sit down and
That
we'd
was
play.
you sitting there.
Yeah, there's a bunch of us in there actually.
Yeah.
You know, I think Andrew was in there too. And then once we got all that together, we started, you know, prototyping an engine. And after about 9 months, we presented something to the entire company, and nobody's ever seen this before. So take a look. This is what we did to kind of show off and prove to the studio and to ZeniMax that build something. And I haven't seen this in years. Oh my God. So you can kind of see, you know, Matt Pete talked about WoW with Oblivion, with whatever. And yeah, this is memories.
Very,
cow.
very geometric. Yeah.
I remember seeing that like when I got hired, and they were like, "Look, you can edit terrain on the fly."
Oh, the tools were unbelievable. Like,
I was like, "Holy, that's badass!"
Yeah, like,
How to get in that.
we could literally have a world builder check an area out, paint the terrain, raise and lower it, do whatever, check it in, and everybody would see it instantly. There was no offline building. There was not like it was really, really cool tech.
It sounds cool to you. Everyone else is.
It was really cool tech. No lighting, no offline building, no waiting days for the next build. Like it was just there, and we could go in and we can iterate and prototype. It was amazing.
Wheeler, what about you? Like, where did you start with all of this?
The start conversations were crazy about Cyrodiil, because it was, when you look at Oblivion, obviously it's a much bigger space than just the space we have right now. And the conversations were, Cyrodiil was a jungle back in the day, and we had to have many debates about, well, what does a jungle really mean? We had our lore master, Lawrence, kind of give me the green light of saying, well, a jungle can be interpreted as like it was the Wild Wild West, so it wasn't like, it's a jungle out there. So that kind of gave us a bit of carte blanche to take the area and make it our own. And there were a lot of discussions back and forth with BGS about that, too.
Yeah.
Because they were like, you can't mess it up too much.
But look what we kind of did in Gold Road.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
There's a nod to the lore there, right?
Yeah. And we got a height map from them, which is basically a grayscale thing that we could import.
Oh my gosh, look at that.
Oh, yeah, this picture.
Look at that.
Yeah, this was an original, like, here are the biomes of Cyrodiil, and you can see the Superman shape that we came up with, because it had to be equal from all three sides. You can see how, like, the bottom portion, we were, like, it has to be very summery, and in the middle was autumn, and we had to have the Great Forest represented.
Right.
And, of course, the snowy north.
What year is that from? That's like 2009?
Oh, God, that was 09, 010. Yeah, so I think that was way, way back then. And that was way before we even had keeps put into the...
Right. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it was crazy.
Yvette, you're in the hot seat. Where did you start?
So I started early on with class and combat. So it was interesting because even though there was so much discussion around lore and the classes, the Elder Scrolls lore is so rich. Like there was no reason to go lore first classes. It was like, no, let's make the classes because the lore is just going to wrap around those classes. So the emphasis was, the trilogy, tanking, healing, DPS. And at the time, of course, WoW was the bar, right? That's what kind of people knew the most. So there was a lot of WoW clones being made early on. And we were just like, this doesn't feel right. So the real challenge early on was, how do we get a test feel into the classes? The team had to really, really work on that for a long time. So it was very, very interesting.
A very long time.
Very long time.
We'll get to that in a little bit.
We'll get there in a little bit.
Now, Joe, you came in a little bit later once the game was sort of already in development. And so what was kind of your first step going into the company?
So working on the live service, Bethesda didn't have a live service. They didn't really have customer service. They definitely didn't have a way to take money from customers. They definitely didn't have account systems or any of that kind of stuff that a lot of publishers, MMO publishers would. So we had to start there. We had to start from scratch and hire a whole bunch of customer service people and actually build a billing system, account system. We had to, get everything outside of the actual game experience. And then we had to be able to take the game from them and then
run it.
And then build data centers and then put the game on the data centers and get that process to be reliable and figure out what to do if it falls over in the middle of the night. So it was a lot of things that ZMI didn't have that we had to put together from scratch. And as big of a job as that was for someone who has worked in the industry for a long time, the ability to actually do that from scratch was a very intriguing thing to do.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to continue to kind of set the stage here. Everyone's got their work mapped out. Why don't you all talk us through how you worked harmoniously together, or maybe even bumped heads?
We did.
Joe, we're going to start with you.
So yeah, it's kind of where everything starts to come together. We had some internal play tests, CMI, but then we started to do friends and family and kind of that regular. And that's when, we've got everybody in the room together. We've got Ed Defoe and Amy Dunham, and Amy Dunham is like secret whispering into Ed Defoe's to do, and
my God,
we've got Wheels in there and trying to keep Wheels from killing too many players.
Look, we only had so many GM accounts, and at least we had them, but we had to do things live back in the day, like hot live.
Yeah, so it was sort of the coming together of everything, and then actually being able to have players and start building that community out and making that what we wanted that to be. So that was a lot of working together. There wasn't too much headbutting in there. We were just trying to survive.
Always going to be that. There was permissions. Like, if we had to fix a keep that was busted in beta, I was like, Joe, I need to change this.
Yeah.
What do you need to do? I was like, well, it's Ari, but it shouldn't. All right, flip it. So during beta, if you were in the middle of a keep, not Chalamo, and it flipped on you by accident, my bad, sorry, I had to do it.
Was anybody here in beta back in 2014?
Oh, yeah.
Wow,
Nice.
Love it.
Now, Yvette, let's talk a little bit about naming the classes.
Naming class.
That was a thing.
That was a thing. It's still a thing.
Still a thing.
14 years later, it's still a thing.
Still a thing.
But naming aside, of course, because we always want to keep with the lore and everything. But all that eventually got ironed out. But early on, Rich was our Mike Finnegan, so he was the encounter and the dungeon guy.
You were loud?
No, I was not that loud.
I was
Never that loud.
Never that loud.
Never.
But
lies? Is that what I heard? What?
But Rich is trying to build encounters and he's trying to build dungeons, and the classes weren't ready. And so I remember feeling so bad because we'd be having in meetings, he'd be like, what are we doing? Where are my classes? Where are the classes? And so that was always a really fun conversation.
It was so bad, I had to make basic, healer class.
Yeah.
I mean, that was
fighter class.
Some of the most fun, though. Like, Wheeler would be like, what do you need? I'm like, well, I need a tank, I need a healer, and I need a damage dealer. And so he'd be like, okay. And he'd go in and he'd whip something up and we'd play test it and be like, that sucks, don't do that. And he'd go back and forth, and then he made this healer that was like, oh my god, let's do this, right? Like, it was awesome, and then things change as you progress through, and Skyrim came out, and we'll get into that in a little bit.
Yeah, we had to flush those old ideas. I can't do that anymore.
Everything's different now.
Yes.
All right, well, let's pivot to talk about some pivots. We know in game development, not everything kind of goes as planned. Not everything goes swimmingly, right?
Yeah, Skyrim.
Skyrim happens, right? I mean, things just happen, right?
Yep.
So working on ESO in the pre-launch days, can you recall any major pivots that actually ended up benefiting the players in the end?
Mega servers.
Yeah, oh man.
Yeah, that's right, because we didn't plan on doing mega servers first.
Mega servers. We were going to have a whole bunch of servers like some other MMOs out there. But there are a lot of, just from a community perspective, the ability to start on launch day and find your friends and play together when you have 500 different servers and you're trying to, and they've all got lore names that you can't remember. And,
right.
Or
you have to coordinate with all your friends.
For, Elder Scrolls, oh my gosh. Tech gets together and decides we're gonna do mega servers, and so that was a major pivot at the time, and
that was just a mind-blowing.
It was really hard on poor Wheeler.
That was a nightmare.
We want everybody to play on the same server.
Oh
my god.
Okay.
I was like, we're doing what?
Yeah.
I mean, when that came out, when you were like, the whole thing came down of we need mega servers, I was like, all right, well, we're gonna have North America and Europe. We can't have literally an entire continent in Cyrodiil. And when we started playtesting with, keeps and having physics stuff and adjust, we had playtests on a regular. We still have playtests on a regular basis in the studio, and we had good old Glimmis set up in Cyrodiil, and we had a version of Cyrodiil that some people were on and another version that other people were in, and the walls were getting destroyed in version 1. And people were able to, shoot through the walls and, kill people fine when the walls got broken down. But in this one over here, the walls were fully up. But people were still getting shot through. We were like, what is going on? This makes no sense. So I had to
make a servers.
Yeah, I had to go talk to Ed, who's our lead engineer, and he goes, yeah, that's a problem. Because apparently they were sharing what we call a physics process, which is it knows the walls are there. And it thought the walls that existed here were over here. So people were like running through walls left and right in this one and going, dude, Wheeler, your stuff is broke. So that turned up where we had to come up with a campaign system and like having that stuff all split out. Yeah, oh god.
My
First stuff.
My lord.
All right.
This is when we first got walls breaking.
Oh my god.
And this is me doing my GM account movement stuff. But yeah, this was...
That was early.
Way
when did
back.
you sneak that in?
What?
When did you sneak that in?
I mean, I snuck in that gray box stuff. God knows how many years.
Wow.
Yeah, that was.
You saved a lot of stuff on your machine.
You did.
Years ago.
Yeah. I have like the archive of all the old stuff from even back in 2009. I've saved everything. Every time I get a new computer, I have to have that hard drive like backed up and saved because of stuff like this. Where people
Now we talked about Skyrim a little bit earlier. There was a pretty major pivot, I think, thanks to Skyrim, right? That you had to help with.
Yes. So, the combat system at the time was very button mashy, right? You're looking at the UI, your abilities are lighting up. So very, very well.
That's how Yvette plays games.
That's how I play games.
That's how she types too.
That's how I type too. Yes. So of course Skyrim comes out, and Matt alluded to this earlier. In Skyrim, you're playing the world. You're not looking at the UI. You're not looking at mini maps and things like that. And so the challenge became, how do we incorporate that into ESO? How are we going to make it so that you're playing the world? And so one of the programmers at the time, he was inspired by one of the Batman games at the time with the reticle system in that game. And he went off and prototyped it and brought it back, and we affectionately called it the column cam because that was his name.
Yep.
And so it was turned down originally, but as Skyrim came out, it just made sense.
Yeah, it worked.
It worked. The reticle system worked. The only major downside, which was another major pivot within a pivot, was that healing now was broken. Like the reticle system completely changed healing in the game. So we had to start healing all the way from scratch again. So that was a major challenge for the team, major pivot, but they did it.
There was no more whack-a-mole, right?
There was no more whack-a-mole. No more.
It's not AAA.
No more button pushy.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Rich, what about you? I know from the design side, I mean, there was a lot that kind of had to change, right? Thanks to Skyrim.
Yeah, I mean, there's tons, right? Like, design-wise, it was, WoW meets Day meets Oblivion. And then Skyrim came out, and it was very, very different, right? Like, it wasn't just walls of text. Like, it was super immersive. It was super interactive. We had to kind of pivot on some of those things. And we had to go back to the kind of drawing board on how we told stories. No more kind of hub and spoke. We had to go back to something a little different where you just wander the world and find things.
Find stuff, yeah.
Which is interesting because that was one of the things we kind of like first prototyped way back in the day. I don't know if you guys remember Taloon. Way in the OG days. That was kind of that thing, and we ended up kind of going back to it, which was cool.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it's funny. Like you can kind of see in some of the videos that we were showing, like the game just looked different back then.
Yeah,
like it played different, it looked different, and having to, pivot is like an understatement. It's like you have this giant ship, and it's like, all right, let's start turning it now.
So our art style, like you kind of saw in the 2008 video, and obviously that was a rough prototype, but our art style changed literally 3 times. And Jared Carr, who's retired now, he came in and he basically redid with his team the art.
Yep.
Basically blew everything out. They kept the major footprints, but blew everything out, redid it to what you see today, and they did that in like 18 months.
I think the Bretons were redone 5 times.
Yeah, like it was unbelievable how quickly they were able to redo it, and we have that same art style now.
That's a pretty major decision, though. Like, I know Matt and Pete talked a lot about how Robert really kind of trusted us to do what we thought was right for the game, but we're already years into development at this point, and making those kinds of decisions that affect, potentially years.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big deal.
It is, and some of that is game development, right? Like, game development isn't an exact science.
It never goes in a straight line.
Right? Like, it's never, you do this, you do this, you do this, you do this. It's, you do this, oh shit, do this, right? Oh shit, do this, right? Like, that's just kind of what it is.
Producers' worst nightmares.
I was going to say, when you're kind of making those plans as a producer, do you have the time to account for things like that?
You just cannot account for that kind of major pivot. You just kind of like, okay, well, now we're in April.
Let's just
start
throw it all.
We'll just keep going from here at this point.
So we're going to give you a chance to kind of give yourselves a pat on the back a little bit. Why don't you talk about something that you did or that you helped with in the pre-launch days that you are particularly proud of? Yvette, you want to go?
I'll go first.
Yeah.
So one of my literally my initial role when I came on board was the localization producer. And so I took really great pride in working with someone I worked at Mythic as well, an outside consultant, and really, we wanted to make the game an excellent translation, and we really wanted to make an immersive experience for our German and French players. And then we decided that we're going to VO the game. Right?
That's another thing. Yeah,
that's another.
It was not fully VO.
It was not fully VO.
It was great walls of text.
Oh yes, yes. So we decided that we're going to VO the game, but the tech was timed in English. So our French and German VO actors had to fit their lines within the English VO timing. The unsung heroes in the background of the VOing. Let me tell you, it was quite the challenge. I'm really proud of how all that turned out, and it's amazing.
I still, to this day, have no idea how we did it. Like, it was literally one-shots. It was fire this line and wait till it was done and then play the next line. And that's how we timed things.
Yes.
Because we totally didn't plan on doing VO at all.
And we literally had to export how long the English take, and so the actors could see, okay, that took 30 seconds, that took 15 seconds, and they had to practice in getting that VO in those time frames. So whether they had to shorten it or make it bigger, so it was quite the challenge.
Unbelievable, yeah.
Well, I don't know German, but I do know German words are really long.
Yes.
There's a lot of consonants in there, so
yes.
Yeah.
props to the VO actors for sure. I only know English, all right? Joe, what about you? What's something that you're proud of?
I'm just launching the game and, having everybody play and together. I think we had worked so hard for so long.
Oh, the old war room.
Is that shaving?
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
You have hair. You have hair.
I have hair in that picture.
Oh, I forgot about the head shaving.
Yep. And then one of our engineers had grown his hair out during the entire beta process, and it was launch day, so he cut his hair on that day. That's a guy who ran our knot cutting his hair. But we had worked so hard and for so long, and especially the last 18 months were pretty intense.
It was a blur.
Being able to get in the game with all of you and play together and make guilds and talk to people and just have a good time that first couple of weeks, even though I don't remember a lot of it. Very tired.
You didn't sleep.
We were there
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Weeks. Yeah.
Yes.
But it was awesome.
Very good friends.
This launching was awesome. It was such a culmination of so many people working for so long and so hard and pivoting so many times.
Yeah.
That was the original war room.
Yeah.
Now we have the digital war room where we have
Yes.
to track so many more things now. So trying to get those communications fired off so much faster nowadays we couldn't do it like that anymore.
No, not at all.
No way.
Wheels, what about you?
Honestly, the PvP crew back in the day making Cyrodiil was really tight-knit. It was a bunch of us that was a combination of Mythic crew, but also some new blood that we hired in to get the world building done. We had a consistent rotating door of world builders that learned how to build PvP terrain, to work with all the crazy inlaid systems that exist in Cyrodiil, and everybody bought into it. Me as the lead all the way through QA, and I had to pay some form of homage to those guys and girls. So we had in game. We have Yvette in the game barking orders at Greg and Ben doing laps in the Ebonheart territory. So if you know Nash UV, that's her. We have a lot of
I'm nice.
We have a lot of dogs in Cyrodiil that are dedicated to people. Rich's dog is in there. My dog's in there. Link. We have a lot of characters that are just echoed all throughout Cyrodiil. So I had a lot of pride in the gang, and they actually. They surprised me on launch day, and I didn't tell you guys this. They gave me a signed poster of everybody from the team of Iren, doing the charge symbol.
Nice. Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah.
I have it on my wall at home still, and the whole original crew signed it. So I was just ridiculously proud of them to get something as massive as Cyrodiil created, and it was just special getting that out there for everybody to play.
I remember we were creating a video in Cyrodiil.
Oh God.
We had the whole company jumping in Cyrodiil, and somebody, I forget who it was, like we all had desk phones at the time and they put it on speaker.
It was Todd.
That's right. That's right. It was Todd. And it was kind of like a 3, 2, 1 go thing. We all had to run, I think, across the field. Or
we had to go jump over. It was the 2012 video.
Yes, it was that one.
Coordinate all that.
And I remember they were like, okay, now don't jump. Like, we just had to run. But it was like, hold still until they say go. And there was always one guy that was just jumping around.
It was hurting cats.
And then it really was. And it's like, guys, we just want to get this video done. And it's like, there's the little guy jumping.
And you know how we
stop jumping?
You know how we fixed that?
Did we just kick him out?
Todd literally walked to that person's office and ripped his keyboard out of his computer and walked away. Literally, that's what he did. He was so frustrated.
Well, because there's always one. Like, when you're going through a group, like, there's always, that one clown in the corner is jumping around. Right?
Everybody's smiling in the crowd. They're like, I know that person.
That's me.
that one. Yeah.
I'm that guy. Yeah. Rich, what about you? What's something that you're proud of?
Can I have 2 things?
Okay, we got time for 2 things.
Okay, 2 things. So I have kind of a dumb one, and then I have a good one. So
well, please, the dumb one.
The dumb one first, right? So as dumb as it sounds, I'm really proud of doors. The doors in ESO, like, it's kind of a developer joke. Like, doors are a lot harder than you think they are to do. But I literally worked with Greg Klein, who's one of our lead artists.
Greg, I think, has been there longer than you, right?
He's been with the company for 22 years. Yeah, or 23 years.
One of the few that's longer than you.
And he was actually one of the guys that was making the IHRA drag racing game when I started up there. But Greg and I worked really hard on getting doors in the game because they weren't animated, they didn't do anything. And I built a test area that had 300 and some odd doors. Every unique door that we had in the game so that Greg could go in and animate every single one of those doors.
I'm sure he loved you for that.
He did, and QA loved it too because they could just go and test all those doors because then we could just clone them and put them out. But I am super proud of the team. Getting us to launch was a huge thing. It was a massive thing. We worked really hard. It was 7 years. But I'm even more proud of what we did after. Because, Matt and Pete talked about, launch wasn't exactly right. We were kind of this in the middle of MMO and Elder Scrolls game. And the team really came together. Like, there were some dark times there. And they came together, and we picked a direction, and they all bought in, and they all jumped in, and they all did it, and they worked their butts off. And we're here now 10 years later with this runaway success of a game, right? So we couldn't have done that without Robert. Robert was the guy that said, go fix your shit, right? I believe this. I want to do this. You guys have a core idea that is amazing. Go make it. And we did. So that's my biggest proud moment.
Yeah. That's really sweet, Rich. That was really nice. Yeah, I was going to say, let's give, not just Robert a round of applause, but everybody at the studio, like, we know, you all are here, and we have a number of people from the studio here lucky enough to be at Amsterdam at this event, but there's so many more at home, and hopefully, watching on stream, and we couldn't do it without them.
No, it literally takes a village.
Yep.
Yes,
Like,
absolutely.
there are so many people from, QA to all the behind-the-scenes art folks to all of our CS folks, right? Like, it just runs the gambit. Our engineering team, designers, like, writers, it's huge. There's PR, there's sales, right? Like, it just goes on forever. All the people that put this together.
The publishing team, the events team, like, there's so many
It's a
people,
massive
right?
thing. And to be able to be together for as long as we have and make something that we have is amazing.
Yeah. All right. Last question. It's going to be a fun one. I'm sure the 4 of you have some crazy stories or maybe some fun memories from over the years, maybe something that we've never told anyone before, a little tidbit. And I think I'm speaking on behalf of everybody that we would love to hear at least one thing from each of you.
One thing from each of us.
Or
can I go first?
Or more. Yeah, whatever.
Okay. So, how about Cadwell? So Cadwell, you all know and love.
Yes.
He wasn't actually originally a character we were planning on making. He wasn't part of the main story. He wasn't even an inkling in anybody's eyes. And then one day we found out that we were able to get John Cleese to voice And we were like, oh shit, have to use this. Like, he's such a cool voice. So we wrote him into the main story. And, you know, at the time it was Win and Bill Slavisek spent a lot of time writing this character into the main story to make it fit. And you wouldn't know it now because he's so tightly integrated, but that was a pivot. Like, that was something special.
Yeah. You had something else, maybe?
I mean, I have a whole bunch of things. I mean, we've been working on this game for 17 years.
Just one more.
One more. How about Rivenspire? So Rivenspire is this really cool zone. It's kind of dark and whatnot. Super polished, super amazing, but it wasn't always that way. Internally, we call it Revision Spire. Because we literally bulldozed that zone like 5 times to get it right. And we have learned a lot in that time. You know, our processes have changed a lot because of that. But yeah, that was tough. I really felt bad for that team.
I remember the playtest, dude. It was like playtest Rivenspire. We're like, shit again.
Right. Shit again, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Joe, why don't you go next? I'm sure you've got something.
So something that it's not really a secret, and especially if you played on the EU server at launch or in beta, is that the EU server when we launched was actually in North America. So
there's a reason for that.
There's a reason for that. We had some assorted mishaps. There may have been some server hardware that got hit by a forklift, something, because we had to order all this stuff and build all these servers and install them in the data centers and do all the things. It's a massive IT project, like Matt likes to say.
That was an expensive oopsie.
And it was a very
That was an expensive problem.
Forklift pierces servers. Not something you hear.
Yeah, so in order to launch, we actually built the EU server in the North America data center, launched that way, and then about 2 months afterwards, we got it all, got all the hardware there, set it all up, and then took a maintenance, moved all the data over, brought it back up, and
it was just magic.
And then it just like magic works. Wheeler, haven't gone yet.
So in development, there's up times and down times, but but you're still working on things. And between Cyrodiil design and Cyrodiil building, we had to make the character creation. And they were like, all right, Wheeler, you have some time, make the character creator. So I had to work with a lot of the artists. Tatiana was one of them on this. And she's a very animated person. And we were going through the character creator, and there were lots of sliders and lots of various ways that you can make your characters look back in the day. And this was like the OG character creator. And there were, that's the orc. But the triangle's still there. That is still to this day. But this was like the original character creator, and you can see some sliders there. But Tatiana was very like, oh, we have booty sliders and chest sliders.
I had a feeling that was her.
Yeah, you're right.
And
that tracks.
Back then, like when we were trying to dial in the values, like you could get some curves. So yeah, the character creator had a lot of evolution too, but that was a lot of fun to work with because it was out of the normal flow of things. Like you go from making people kill each other to no, make them look pretty. Yeah. I was like, okay, let's see how this works. But it was really, really cool working with a lot of artists. But those sliders, man, you could do some hands the size of your leg, and just it was a lot of fun doing that.
Very, very exaggerated, right?
Yes.
Yvette, why don't you bring us home here?
So mine isn't a crazy story. And so startups, there's this family feel, especially when you're small and you're going through these pivots and these challenges, and people really come together. I really miss the ability that we had to meet outside of Matt Fire's office for our studio updates, for our sprint reviews. It was so nice because everybody was together in one area. And it just really, you felt the camaraderie, you felt the family feel, and I really miss that. So those are my fondest memories.
It was like this. Honestly, it was like this when you got in front
of everybody. A little smaller.
us. We hope that everybody had a great time watching, both on stream and in person. But now, I think we're going to wrap up our live stream portion.
Okay.
And we're going to kind of get the party started here in Amsterdam. Woo! So, thank you, everybody.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back. I am standing here with ZOS Studio head Matt Firer. Matt, hearing about the origins of the game, everything that's happened the last 10 years, now standing here at this celebration event, I have to ask, how does it feel?
I mean, it's amazing. It's all about the people, right? And you get to spend a whole day with that love ESO. It's amazing. You know, we did a stage show, we did a panel on the history of ESO, and it's great just talking about it with people that love and appreciate the game, because this game is all about the people that play it.
Yeah, and so of everything going on here today, what has been your favorite part so far?
Meeting the players, right? And because we're players too. We love the game as much as they do. We don't just work on it, we actually play it. So just sitting down and talking about the game, talking about our shared passion, you know, it makes it all worthwhile. We're the developers, so we sit in our office, you know, for months at a time, and coming out and meeting the players is like the highlight, you know, of the year for us. So I can't get enough of it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And the energy here today has been amazing. And so I know that you don't have a crystal ball and you can't share too much, you know, but I do want to ask, what does in just a word or two, what does the next 10 years of ESO hold for us?
I've been asked that question a few times. You know, I think really if you look back at the last 10 years, you'll see that with ESO, we'll make changes when we think we need to make changes. So looking forward, who knows? But we'll change with the times as the times change. But for right now, we love what we're doing and we're not going to change it.
Yeah, amazing. And Matt, thank you so much for the
My
time.
pleasure.
It's been great talking to you and the rest of the event. I know that I will.
So much fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And so a little bit ago, we gave you a look at everything happening here in person at the celebration, and I think in a little bit, Julian and I are off to try our hand at axe throwing again. But before we do that, let's give away that Xbox controller. We are giving away an Xbox Elite Controller Series 2. Type ESO10 in chat to enter and exclamation point rules. See full terms and eligibility. And while you're entering, we want to remind people, if you pre-order Gold Road, before it launches, you'll receive the Welkenstone's Wolf Mount. And whether you're a new, current, or returning player, there is a version of Gold Road that's right for you. So head on over to ElderScrollsOnline.com to find yours. And we showed you a sneak peek a little bit ago. The Gold Road Prologue Quest is now live in game. It's free to play. Head over to the Crown Store. You can grab the quest starter there.
Yeah. And don't forget that we're currently having our free play event that runs until the 9th of April. So grab your fans and have some fun together in Tamriel. And also, if the free play event isn't enough, there are also sales happening on all platforms with up to 75% off. Crown packs are also on sale, so be sure to check out those deals.
Thank you so much to all of our incredible partners who helped us make this event a success and such a fun place to be. Speaking of which, it's time to give away that controller. We'll give it just a few more seconds. If you only just tuned in, we're giving away an Xbox Elite controller. This one is themed to the ESO 10-year anniversary.
And if you haven't entered yet, type ESO10 in chat, all in one word. Get those entries in, and we're closing the giveaway right now.
And it looks like we have our winner. We'll be reaching out via Twitch Whisper shortly, so please keep an eye on your DMs. And while we're talking about giveaways, I want to remind everyone that we have giveaways happening today and tomorrow across all of our social channels. So make sure you're following along there because we have a lot of really great stuff that we're giving away.
Yes, and thank you to all of our wonderful sponsors for sponsoring a lot of the giveaways on social media and also here on site. They really helped to make this event feel special. It was our pleasure to welcome all of the community to ESO in Amsterdam, and we'll have more information on upcoming in-person anniversary events in the future, so follow along on our social media for more info and keep an eye on our local Bethesda and ESO channels for more details. We have our local ESO 10 celebration in 2 weeks at Elvia in the Netherlands, and there are just a few tickets left, so grab those while you still can.
Thank you for tuning in and joining us for our 10-year anniversary live stream. If you missed any part of the stream, your opportunity for drops, or you just want to watch it again, we'll be airing the broadcast again at 3:30 p.m. ET. We hope to see you at one of our anniversary celebration events in the near future. And until next time, See you in Tamriel.
Welcome back to ESO News. Hope you guys are having a good drive and a good day during the ESO 10th anniversary celebration that's happening here. Looking like Alfia is going to get in. And once again, with the daily login rewards, if you log in today in your game, you're going to get a Seals of Endeavor. I'm going to start looking into Seals of Endeavor here really quick. Let's see what we have available on the... Where is this? Oh yeah, we got deck builders going on. Oh yeah, deck builders. It's a great thing. Didn't you love watch? It was like man, we were in the stadium, we're getting all ready, and yeah, that's super. We got some. Lots of things. Were you able, man? Like, if you did you get the control? Did you get the controller? I would have liked to gotten the controller. Wow. So it's amazing. Absolutely amazing. So we got the weather girl Redlia in here with what? Take it away, Redlia. Oh yeah, so I guess really she's kind of like I don't know really what to say. I got these Seals of Endeavor things that I'm looking at. There's like I got 50 of these Seals of Endeavor. I don't really know what they do, but I might be able to get some nice magic going on in there. So hopefully you guys have been enjoying your celebration and ESO 10th anniversary going on right now. Super exciting. I'll let Bradley take it away. Hope you're having a good drive. Welcome back to ESO News. It's time to learn the fundamentals. How do you get those information moving and whatnot? Well, you're gonna have to buy. This is the clinch and win. Clinch and win. So this is over on Twitter. You can look at this over on Twitter. Yes, you can. And we are on Twitter right now with the apostrophe study in Elder Scrolls. The Elder Scrolls apostrophe. Such a beautiful thing. You might have thought, hey, what is an apostrophe? It's catastrophic. Well, you look over there, it's like, that's an exclamation point. No, that's a comma. So the problem we're having is we're having the problem to where the apostrophes, they're going up and they're going down. Well, we don't want to exactly have that. And so those of you that have bought the word processor, the beloved word processor, Office Suite. Oh, yes. Or you can get it on Macintosh or Polaris Office. This is all available for you guys for, I think it's about like $29.39. I don't know. Is it $29.99? Well, it's around like 30 or 40 bucks. So buck on your way over, and you're gonna want to have to buy the darn word processor. Look at what this is. This is amazing, and this is bringing out the picture for the apostrophe. I'm gonna go down here. What do we have here? Oh. Have you ever seen an Elder Scrolls apostrophe before? No. There's no picture there. How do we get left off? Hey, dog. Come here. Come here. So, have you ever seen an Elder Scrolls apostrophe before? Well, I will let you know now you have seen an Elder Scrolls apostrophe. So beautiful. So beautiful. Like, how do we get an apostrophe in there? It's just not by like clicking on a button. It's like, have you ever seen an Elder Scrolls apostrophe before? Well, now you have. It's so beautiful. How do we get that on there? Well, we're in study form right now. Looking over there, like the apostrophe is in. It's apostrophic. So seriously, you're gonna want to get the word processor. And those of you that have gotten the word processor, the Office Suite, you're gonna love this because this is gonna soon come in to where we start seeing the apostrophe work for us. That's an important thing. Instead of seeing a blank screen, you don't want to really see a blank screen where you want to see the actual apostrophe. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to get in to the word processor here to show you like kind of how this works. This is a really, really fun thing. Sweet thing. If you ever sweet roll, that's a great thing too. Let's see here. What do we have here for the word processor? Oh yes. Apostrophe study. All right. So I'm gonna take old Twitter, old Mount Buddy off. Mount Buddy? Mount Buddy. Mount Buddy. Mount Buddy. Mount Buddy. Mount Buddy. There's Mount Buddy. Mount Buddy, where are you? Mount Buddy. Okay, Tweet. Come on, Tweet. So we got it over here where we're looking at the old Mount Buddy somewhere around there where the apostrophe, seriously, the apostrophe is an important part of Tamriel. You've heard of Tamriel and you know it because this is what we need to see after writing things like Mirabelle's or Mirabelle's. The earlier quest scene at the College of Winterhold was a student who underneath the college and got stuck in a comma. So the story is better explained by seeing the apostrophe in two forms. That's some great stuff. So make sure you get your Office suite because it's sweet. I'm gonna leave this on the screen and you can kind of play around with this and make sure you get Office suite because you're gonna need it. I'll be right back. Just got back in here. Hopefully, you guys are having a good drive. Have you ever thought what is involved with getting commas and apostrophes and even letters, for that matter, inside of a written system such as Elder Scrolls? Well, this is why I have been thinking about why a new word processor had to be paid for. And that's what you guys are going to have to do as well to get your devices working better. It's very inexpensive Office Suite. It's about $30 to $40, so it's very inexpensive, and it's going to save our butts every time. So how do you get a letter in, like the capital E or the A in apostrophe? How do you get that in? You just can't copy a character or a numeral without paying for something. And so what I'm explaining on a deeper level, this is a study for how these things go in. We can't just actually like copy, just copy the character, such as the apostrophe here. When going in, like clicking over on certain devices, we can use our fingers to copy the the pictured image, and that can work in some form. However, these things have to be paid. And so what I'm explaining for those of you that are looking into getting Office Suite, well worth the money, and it's going to help you guys out. Currently doesn't have Papyrus, and I'm not sure if the Microsoft Motif Sans is the other font that is used in Elder Scrolls. Over here inside of the system for Office Suite, I'm just going to show the current fonts that are available. Let's see here. I'm going to go to the home here, the home section here of Office Suite. Right here with the font that's being used is Microsoft Sans Serif. That's the closest I can think of getting to either Papyrus or Microsoft Motive Sans. So Microsoft Sans Serif, kind of close. At least we have some writing that we can put into the typewriter. This is a great tool and a great learning mechanism. As you can see, the wordings of places like College of Winterhold, what we can do is we can copy the wording, and that's good enough. Going into the black lettering or the black computerized panel, or a sheet of papers, you might consider that. When we type information such as the last word here of forms, the actual letters are what give the color to places like over in the comma, or what some consider this an apostrophe. The problem that I was seeing is that in some keyboards, the apostrophe turns into a comma, which should not occur. So what I'm explaining for the apostrophe, we want to have this being seen as the apostrophe rather than the comma. This is more of what's considered the comma. In some places, you might think that the comma is the apostrophe, and so that's been a little bit of a confusion. So I'm making this a little bit easier to understand, where this here on the left hand side is the apostrophe, where on the right hand side is the comma. Kind of confusing when you go into a keyboard and you type in a letter. This was kind of made apparent to me when I was writing in over in ESO over in Facebook. I was writing some information, and on the typewriter inputted some of the words and the characters, such as the apostrophe. Well, the apostrophe right here on the right hand side was the one used, and what happened is a comma came out of the thing rather than an apostrophe. And so what's going to happen? We have to get the color board replenished. In order for us to get the color board replenished, what we have to do is we have to buy Office Suite. And so that's what I'm explaining for you guys, to get your devices working more properly, to get the color board working better. Buy Office Suite, and then we can start working with the colors. Right in here is a copied form of what's called Wikipedia. In the actual copied form of the characters of an apostrophe and a comma. There's many different values that go into inputting in the system. The system is just not going to actually be given to someone without somebody actually paying for something or paying for it later. It's kind of has to deal with along the lines of somebody going into a contract. I don't have to be in a contract because I understand these things. I understand that these things have to be paid. And so in a timely manner, what I'm explaining, the importance of you guys buying Office Suite is going to actually save your hide many times. If you don't understand what it means to copy a picture or copy a video, those things do cost money. And so what I'm explaining, the importance for you guys to to pay your due. When like, and this has gone down from generations to generations, where you have to pay your due in order to get to the place that you're gonna be at. So say if you're just starting out in a company, you always start down in the low man totem pole. And so what I'm explaining is if you want to get higher up in the company that you're in, say you're like you want to get to the third line from where you are currently. Well, you're going to have to pay your due. And what I'm explaining here with paying your due, this is the example form for you to get up to the example third line that you're desiring in the company that you're working for. In Elder Scrolls, this is basically the same thing, same line of thought, to where when you pay your due, that's gonna pay off, and you'll be able to start making some money. So in order for you to make money, you've got to pay. So that's the basic thing about how companies work. And so what I'm explaining here in Elder Scrolls, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to pay for the typewriter. Once we pay for the typewriter, wow, we've got at least, look at what we have now. We have the color black, a form of the color black, to where we can actually reproduce different varieties of the color black. And then we can move on to different colors in the animation board of Elder Scrolls. So basically, that's what I'm explaining here of why we need to buy Office Suite or Polaris Office. If you're in Macintosh, you're going to want to get Polaris Office, and if you're in Microsoft, you're going to want to get Office Suite. So this is the basic thing, and the concern that I was seeing earlier when I was writing in Facebook, the actual apostrophe went down below to where I was writing couldn't. It was with a COULDN and then it's supposed to be apostrophe T, but it looked like a comma in there. And so hopefully this is understood a little bit more, where when we buy the word processor, we have color in there to where we can see, and we can present letters, numerals, and characters inside of the system to where we're trying to present at least something. This is just a little miniature form and the current progress in Office Suite. So hopefully you guys are enjoying your drive. I'm going to take a quick break. I will be right back. Love you've had a good drive here today. There's a lot of problems happening, so hope you guys are having a good day and we can get those little problems fixed. This is a great thing to get Office Suite, and hopefully you'll, if you haven't gotten it already, you're gonna definitely want to get Office Suite so you can make sure you have your graphics working inside of your devices. It's an important thing. So I'm going to go off the screen, and I'll be later on. If you want to check out the game night here tonight at 7 p.m. As always, coming up, that's going to be a great thing getting into the next chapter. Kind of in like a little on a holding cell, waiting for the next chapter to go through. This is going to be some sweet stuff. Hopefully you have a good rest of the day.